this is what's possible. What's possible for all of you guys is to live in a place like this, to become a multimillionaire, to have industry parties at your house where producers and directors and ADs and actors and costume designers and casting directors, major people, come to your house and you dance under the stars and you eat amazing food and you celebrate life, and they're all like you. They're just like you. They're creatives just like you that dared to leave the 9-to-5 world and dare to start building these skills to build this life where we're making $100, $200, $500,000 a year, working part-time, and I'm not kidding you. And that's not always true, where it's part-time making $1 million a year, or even $500,000 a year. You're working more than part-time. But for many of the crafts, see, we're going to do this outside for a while until my battery gets low. For many of the crafts, you can be, I'm going to sit here on the ground. It's so cool. Yeah, for many of the crafts, you can be making $650 for a 12-hour day. $650 per day. Now, when I was starting, I had no idea, but I want you to know the possibilities. And for actors, you probably know that principal actors make $1,000 a day. So that's what you can be making, and you can be getting lots of jobs. Like, you don't have to wait until you make it big as an actor or make it big as a director. Don't do that. That's my whole point here, is for you guys to see that you can have a great life now. You don't have to wait until you're like, oh, I got to be like a big co-star, a big director, and that's going to be so long, so far away. So what do I work on now? What classes do I take now? What do I do now? I know that's how we're thinking, but how I want you to start thinking is, if you want a great life, let's make that happen this year. Let's start getting on these film sets now and meeting people and seeing how other people are doing it, because you would love an internship, wouldn't you? You would love an apprenticeship. And people pay a lot of money for these fake externships that are bullshit because it sounds so good. But here's the thing. There are no externships where a real professional takes you under their wing and has you shadow them. You know why? Because it's not possible. Not on real sets. On stuff that struggling filmmakers that are trying to get in the business where they want you to work for free, yes, because those are not professional sets. But professional sets is what I'm talking about. Now you might be like, oh, I got some stuff to learn, but I can still do that. And I can meet these people and I can build a career not exactly like that person, but one that works for me. And the main thing is that you got to get there on sets all the time, which I'm going to teach you how to do that, how to get on these sets consistently. And then you meet the people, and proximity is very powerful. Right now, we have proximity with people that are not in the business, like people that work at our jobs, and they don't even understand the business, and they're not even creative, and they never wanted it, and they just want the security of that life. But you guys are young. You guys have your life in front of you. You guys are like dreaming and wanting, and I was right there too. I was 28, 29 years old in a job selling copy machines, and I'm like, the writing's on the wall. If I stay in this job, yeah, I'll make some money, but I won't even make that much money because I'm so unhappy. I'm like, so what am I working so hard for? I hate getting up and going to that job. I don't like fluorescent lights. I hate air conditioning blowing on my neck. And I don't want to be around these people, even though they're really nice. They're just not my people. And you're creative people, and you need to be around creative people, and you need to be around people that are like, oh yeah, I've got a shoot happening this weekend. Are you available? Would you be interested in learning this skill or trying out this or helping us out here? If you are willing, and I know you are, I know that you come into the business wanting to act and wanting to direct, and you can. And you can use being on these sets consistently to be able to get that work. And in addition to that, you can help out and learn the other crafts, which you haven't possibly even thought about, or you're like, I don't know how to do that. I know, me neither. You might be like, don't you have to go to film school for that? Yes, that's what everybody thinks, but it's not true. Because guess what, guys? Imagine this. This is how work happens in the film industry. They work with you as a production assistant. Oh, you're awesome. Are you available next week? Yes. That's it. And guess what? All the people that have the film school credentials and the things, they don't even get to talk about it. Nobody's asking them for it. Nobody's even noticing that. There are some people that went to film school, and that's fine. I love education. I love it. I love learning. It's just the problem is the debt. And the debt is a problem because when you have the debt, then you got to take a job to pay for the debt. And the debt is for 20 years, probably, those payments. So that's why I say avoid it. You don't need it. You can learn everything by having professionals teach you 12 hours a day, because you're working with them for 12 hours a day, and develop those relationships. When you get into the business and you start working, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's the case. You'll see. And you'll see people that went to film school and they're not working in the business. They have the degree. And they studied it. And they studied screenwriting. And they invested in themselves. And it's not fair. I know, but the world is not fair. The world goes to the people that are doing things the way that the world works. And the way that the industry works is it's a bunch of creative people just like you that are passionate about what they do, and they hire their friends. So you can get into that group. You can do it. All of us can. The film industry, a lot of people want to work in the film industry. A lot of good people in the film industry. Yet a lot of people leave the industry because they try and they don't get nowhere. And some people get into the industry and they fly. What do you think is going to make you fly in the film industry? It's going to be get factor, relationships, belief in yourself, your skills that you build, your listening, your presence, the relationships that you're able to make and that you continuously make for your whole career, because the whole business is a people business. It's all relationships. It's all love. And notice that fear, it doesn't really have a lot of purpose. You know? Like any fear that's preventing you from getting into the film industry, it is kind of like we allow it to be there because that's part of our nervous systems. But it's not going to stop. We will not let it stop us from becoming the people that we want to be. Why do we want to be a director, an actor, a writer, a costume designer? Why do we want it so bad? The reason why we want it is because of how you think that you are going to feel when you get that life. Yeah. So for me, working in the copy machines, selling copy machines, I'm just like, I felt like crap all the time. I felt like despair and disappointed and dead. When I started pursuing getting into the film industry, I felt alive. And why I went for the film industry is I'm like, that will be exciting. I'm going to meet the man of my dreams in the film industry. I want to be around those kind of people. I want to do something creative. I don't want to live the life that most people have. And I'm willing to go through my fear and not knowing what the heck I'm doing and making mistakes and being bumbling and stumbling and the possibility of not making it. I'm willing to do all that to get that life, to meet those people and to have that life and build those skills. A lot of us don't realize that with the film industry, every day you're building skills. And those skills pay you for the rest of your career. When you're in a job, yeah, you build skills, but it benefits the company. Now, everything benefits you. You get a little bit better at understanding something that benefits you. And the growth is exponential. And it's also driven by yourself. Self-driven, because that's who you want to be. So the reason why we're looking at the film industry is because how we think that it's going to make us feel when we get it. When you get that role, how you're going to feel. Oh my God, I made it. I'm so proud of myself. How about when you have 3 clips that you've shot for your reel? Let's back up from the reel. Now you're building clips, and now you're going to feel proud. That's why you want to build those clips for your reel. How about the 20 shoots that you get on? 20 shoots. Your first 20 shoots. Why do you want to do that? Because you're like, oh, yeah, I do it. I don't just talk about it, I do it. I'm on sets every single week, and I feel so happy. I feel like I'm learning. I feel like I'm in it. I'm doing this. It's possible. That's why we do it. Everything that we do, you guys, it's about feeling good. That's why we do it. That's why we want that life, right? Okay, so everything that we do is because of how we think that it will make us feel. That's why we do it. How you feel is how you get the results. So if you think of your career, and a lot of people are like, okay, I've been trying this now for many years. How long have you been wanting this life? How long have you been working on making it happen? If you think of your career and you're like, oh, it's taking me a year, it's taking me 6 months, people don't want to let me in. Other people are better than me. Like you go to an acting class and you're like, you're doing your thing and you're like, wait a second, these people are all better than me and they're not even anywhere in their career. So what does that mean for me? Or you look on Instagram and you're like, oh, these people are better. Now I'm just bringing up some things that we do because these things that we do, they impact our success. And we want to not ignore them and say, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to think that way anymore. First, we have to dig into how we're actually responding and being clear and honest about it, and then we can impact it. So now we want to be honest about how we feel, because how we're feeling is what is getting our results. So if you think of your career and you feel mostly frustrated, then what you're doing, or what I was doing, is taking actions through mostly feeling frustrated about the career. I want this amazing career, but all of the pain and the frustration and the fear is mostly what I'm feeling about my career. So for example, if you go into an audition, you're like, oh, this is a real important audition, and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to suck. Then you have the thought that you're going to suck, and then immediately you feel fear. And then you do the audition feeling scared, and then you don't do that well, right? So your thinking actually impacts your emotions, and then from how you're feeling, which is your emotions, that impacts how you show up, which is the result. But what should you do about that? Because you're like, well, I just think whatever I think, and then, I don't know, the world just happens. That's what I'm saying, is that what we want to do is we want to start to be conscious of our thoughts and pick our thoughts deliberately. Guys, this is you putting your frickin' finger on your whole life. Like, you don't have to hope that it's going to turn out. When you learn how to intentionally manage your mind on what I'm talking about, you decide what you're going to think and feel, and all your actions come through that. Oh my God, you are on point all the time. You are showing up the way you want to. And your career just happens so easily, and everybody's passing your name all over the place. I am not kidding you. And nobody teaches us how to feel good so that we can produce great results. We go into the world and we try to feel good from manipulating the environment. So what we do is we're like, oh, I feel good when I get an audition. I feel good if the audition goes well. I feel good if I write something good today, but then I don't feel good if I get blockage and I can't write anything. I feel good if somebody's nice to me. I don't feel good if they're not nice to me. I feel good if I buy that car. I feel good if I get to actually perform in that play and I do well, but I don't feel good if I perform in the play and I don't do it to my expectations. I feel good if I meet somebody that's like, oh, you're awesome. But I don't feel good if I meet somebody and they're just like too busy and they don't talk to me. So you can see that when we try to manipulate the outside world, then we're going all over the place. The boost is momentary. And a lot of these things we cannot control, so we're constantly feeling up and down and all over the place. But here's what I want to tell you. Everything that you want is within you already. You can feel good first, and then you can powerfully and predictably create all this stuff outside of you. A thought is a sentence. It's just a sentence in your mind. And when you repeat the sentence again and again, like, I'm an anxious person, like, I'm afraid to fail, I hate failing, I don't want to get rejected, I'm afraid, I don't have enough money, that holds me back. When you repeat the sentence again and again and again, that's when it becomes a belief, where you don't question it anymore. And if the sentence, when I ask you, how do you feel when you think that thought, if the feeling is like rejection or fear or scared or uncertainty or despair or defeated, if that's how you feel when you think that thought, you're trying to create your career from that feeling. It's like you're bent over and trying to create an amazing career. Now, guys, none of this is a problem, by the way, especially since you're shining the light on it. You're so brave to do that. I did this and I do this all the time myself. This is the way out. Because when you see that what you wrote down, all those sentences in your mind have been giving you a feeling, and you've been trying to create a career by feeling defeated, then all of a sudden you go, oh my God, that's what I've been doing. That's going to impact my success.